Hello, I'm Sam from Hatches Up. This is a very quick introductory video. I'm going to whiz through things. You can whiz through things because it's all very simple. So to start with, show you the basics. It's very powerful, Hatches Up, so there's plenty of things that will follow on afterwards. So I'll fill you in on the basics to start with, and then we'll move on to the more complicated things such as stock control and what we call tags. So to start with, you will get your own URL, your own order page URL, which goes in here. You add /admin to the end of that, and it takes you to the login screen. You log in, as you always would. Ignore that, that just does that for me. And this is the screen you're presented with. Very straightforward. The menu down the left-hand side here are the things that you need to know how to deal with to start with. So recent orders, once you're all set up, this is where you will see orders that have come in. I haven't used mine for a little while, so my most recent order is 14th of February, Valentine's Day. Next down, we've got upcoming events, which is as it sounds, the calendar, which is a calendar, add new event. The best way to look at it to start with is with this management tab, menu items and collection locations. Those two things come together to create an event. So this is where you start with adding things. You can't add an event until you add a menu item and a collection location. And then right at the bottom there is your settings. Settings you only go into once at the start. That's things like the name of your business, the contact email. We work with Stripe. Stripe, the payment provider we use. You get a little button on here when you first set up that allows you to connect to your Stripe account. And then this is your order page customization. So you can add images as a backdrop and then a logo image there just by clicking on choose file from there. These are a little more complicated. Those will follow on. Okay, so let's start from scratch with the management items just here. We'll start with adding a collection location. So I've got two in there already. Those are two local Cambridge ones. This is super simple. You've got two things there, item and description. So we click on new collection location. The title is the headline. So perhaps it's the Dog and Duck Public House. And then the description appears underneath that in less bold type. So you would put the name of the road and the name of the village. Let's go for that. And probably postcode. Postcode is important because postcode is how it will feed into the map system. You then click create, simple as that. That then appears in your list of locations. You can obviously edit and delete those from there. Menu items. Click on menu items. I've got a few in there already. You can edit the ones you've already got. You can create a new menu item from there. So if I click on to edit the ones we've already got, just to speed this through a little bit. Title is as it sounds. I've gone for fried green tomatoes. You've got a little bit of text there that fills it all in, fills you all in with what it means, so you don't have to remember all this. Parent menu items if you want to group things together. So for example, you might have pizzas and then you group them all together under one heading of pizza. You might then have fries, which will have normal fries, loaded fries, whatever. You can group those together. An internal title, that's you might choose a shorter title for your things because that comes out on the printed tickets or on the iPad within the van when you're doing the orders. So you might give it a short code, for example, in there. Groups can also be used to group things together. That works slightly differently to parent menu items. We can talk about that in more detail further down the line. Description is what it sounds like. So my fried green tomatoes are deep fried in gluten-free batter and served with vegan blue cheese drizzle. Lovely. Allergen information. This one's down to you. Obviously, rules are there to protect people, so you need to make sure you put that in there. Tags. Tags is the most complicated but the most powerful element of this. That's what enables you to set your workload within the software so you don't get overwhelmed by orders. So you don't, for example, get people ordering more than you can cook. Tags can be really simple. If you are, for example, you just do pizzas and you know you can cook 4 pizzas in 10 minutes, you just put in 4 pizzas every 10 minutes and the software knows that, and it won't take an order for 5 pizzas in 10 minutes. It will take up 2 slots. So you can have 5 pizzas across 2 slots, and then if someone else comes in and orders 2 more, adds them to there. Photo. You can add a photo next to each menu item. Always a good idea. Not everyone does that, but I think it's a good idea. So once that's all done, you click Save, Update at the bottom, and you have a menu item. So you've got a menu item added, you've got a collection location added. As I say, both of those now come together to create a new event, which you can do two ways. You can go into a calendar and choose the date, or you can click Add New Event. Once you've got a few events in place, the easiest way to add a new event is to copy the last one. So once you've done a successful service at one location and you want to re-enter another one, you just click Duplicate, you put the new date in, and it carries across all the information from the last event. But for the purpose of this, we'll start from scratch. So, event details. The date of the event is fairly obvious. You can type that in manually, or you can click in for the calendar. So we're going to say it's on the 11th of June. Collection location. This is populated from what we just typed in. So let's go for the dog and duck. That's the one we just added. Prevent online orders. You can show an event as sold out. If it's sold out, you can hide an event. So if you want to enter the details in advance, but you don't want to make it live for people to actually order, you can click on hide. We're confident, so we'll leave that as not preventing. Order window start. If you leave that blank, it will enable orders from as soon as you save, so from now right up until the end of the service. So you can have your iPad, your iPhone live on the van and keep accepting online orders whilst you're in service. You can start the window later and finish it earlier. So for example, if you're somewhere where you know there's no mobile phone signal and you don't want pre-orders to come in whilst you're in service, you can stop the order window by filling that in for when you leave the house, knowing then that you won't get any orders made that you don't see come up if there's no signal. So you can choose those again with the calendar. Service start is when you want to start. So click on the little clock. And so on the 11th of June, we're going to start serving at 4:05, and we're going to finish serving at 6:05. It's a short service, couple of hours. Okay, collection slot length. So once this becomes the public-facing order page, they'll be able to choose when they collect their food. Typically 10 or 15 minutes. So we'll go for 15. And that'll enable them to choose o'clock, quarter past, half past. Slot capacity rules. So this is, again, what we talked about, the most complicated but powerful element of this. We'll come onto it later in detail, but effectively you can change the amount of orders or the amount of items that you take within a window. Some people choose to limit it by the value of the orders. So if you're, doing a curry where it's very simple to put into bowls and everything has a similar serving time, you just say, well, I can take 100 pounds of orders every 20 minutes, and you slot it in there. Vans that have different types of food, so a burger van that, for example, can be cooking 10 burgers at the same time as cooking 3 chips, that's when you need to get into what's called tags, where you can put a limit on the number of burgers you can do at once, a limit on the number of chips you can do at once, but the two don't interfere with each other, because you can be serving people chips whilst other people are waiting for their burgers. We talk about that in detail a bit later. That also feeds into stock rules. Right, and then below here we have the menu items. So nothing will show on the order page until you tick this in. So, for example, some locations you might find you sell certain food items better than others, so you might not always want to take all the same menu items to the same place. Hence, you can tick them all online here. Quantity, you can say how many you're taking with you. So if you know you've only got enough fried green tomatoes to sell 50, you put 50 in there, and then the software knows once 50 have been sold and it won't sell anymore, so you're not going to disappoint anybody. And then you fill in the price. The price will carry forward if you duplicate an event, as I mentioned earlier. Some people have different prices for different areas. It just obviously enables you to change that rather than it being fixed to the menu item. So my fried green tomatoes are £6. My Mongolian chickpea curry with rice, I've only got 4 of those. No, I've got 3 of those actually. That's £12. You can vary that actually. So this is what we talked about earlier with parent items. So I can have a super spicy version or a mild version. I can tick those both on. I'm taking 2 of those and 1 of those, and they're all £12. Actually, I don't need that price at the top there because they're child items, so that can come out. And then Brian's Burger, I'm going to take 11 of those. And then £9. I'm not going to take Penelope's Penny, no penny, not sure what that is, but we're not taking that. Create. We now have an event. So this is your calendar, which you'd get to from here. And it shows that on Wednesday the 11th, we are going to be at the Dog and Duck. At the moment, nobody's ordered anything, disappointingly. We click on that, and this shows the work in progress for the number of orders that have come in, and everything that's going to be there for whilst you're working on the pitch. This will obviously update in live time once people start placing orders. At the top here, you can edit the event, go back to the screen we were just on and change things there. You can see the orders that have come in, none at the moment, but as they populate, you'll see them appear here within the orders. Oops. Place order, so if you get a walk up, you can put in an order from here. It doesn't only work from the customer facing end. Sheet. A sheet is if you wanted to, so rather than printing individual tickets, you can print a whole sheet of all the orders for the whole service and then just work through that. Delete's obvious. Duplicate is what I talked about earlier, if you want to create a new event by duplicating this one. Preview. This is what the customer will see. So my van is called the Flattened Villi because sadly I'm a celiac, which means I probably won't get to eat some of the delicious things that you cook. You can see the items that we added in. So these are the fried green tomatoes at £6. You'll see now why I told the software that I was only taking 3 of the chickpea curry with rice in spicy mode, because it will say that there are only 3 more available. So it shows people a countdown. At the moment, it only does that once it gets to 3. So because I've got 50 fried green tomatoes, it doesn't say 50 available. It just says they're available. One of the things that we wanted to do from here was make it really simple to click an order. There's no account setting up. People are often put off by the too many clicks. So from here, you just go add. You can put notes in, or the customer can put notes in. How many do you want? Add for £12. It says it's only a preview because it's only a preview, but that adds it. And then it's one more click to order. So you don't lose customers along the way with complicated, would you like to set up an account, this, that, and the other. Insists on taking the email and phone number just in case anything goes wrong and you need to contact them or anything's not clear. But it's super simple for them to click through and order, all designed from the start for that. So you look at your preview, you'd realise, oh no, with the mild, I didn't put a photo. And then you can close your preview, go back to your menu items, and then add your photos to make the menu basically look lovely. That is it for setting things up. Clearly, once you start setting more events up, more events will start to appear on here. And that's the beauty of this. And one of the things that we don't think any of our competitors do is that you can put as many events going forward as you want to put on there. So if you've got 10 services coming up, people can pre-order from any of those 10 services. They can see where you're going to be in the future as well as where you are now, and order from there. That's the basics of it. It is super simple. Some people choose just to use it like that. One of the powerful things it does, though, is the stock management and the workflow. Vans that use this really well maximize their efficiency. So if you know you can cook 12 burgers and 3 chips in one 10-minute slot, you can sell to a maximum of that in that slot, so you don't oversell, but also you're not under capacity. It saves an awful lot of time in terms of, because when you're taking the pre-orders, you're not then having to deal with the sort of face-to-face ordering system. So your chefs on the vans can deal with cooking, but also just the hospitality side, chatting nicely to the customers. There's not the necessary interaction, the complication of taking the payments and PIN numbers and all those sorts of things. Some customers don't like to chat, but it works for them. They walk up to the door, you know they're coming at 4:10. You've cooked the food for them at 4:10. They grab the food, they go. Others like to hang around and have a chat. But yeah, so the vans that use it most and are most efficient with it make heavy use of tags. We will show you a video separately with tags on.